Hey guys, and welcome to a battle featuring Consul of Rome leading the mighty legions of the High Elves up against Salazar and the sneaky and conniving Skaven. Should be a good fun game. It looks like we have two very interesting lords as well, so I'm excited to hop into this one and see how the battle does unfold. Now this is being recorded in the past, which I suppose all recordings are, so if you do comment and so forth on the video, it may take me a little while to get back to you as I am currently away this week. But anyway, on to the battle. So in the front line for the High Elf forces, we do have Rangers with some chevrons as well. These guys should be able to clear up this Skaven chaff extremely quickly. Their dual-wielding swords makes them some deadly anti-infantry troops all round. They're a little bit squishy themselves, but still should do a good job up against the forces of the Skaven. Then a secondary line, it looks like we have spearmen protecting the flanks, at least on one side, and then archers in a centre pocket. So going cheap and cheerful with the archers is a very good tactic up against the Skaven. They don't have too many heavily armoured threats where you'd want Sisters of Avalon and the like, so archers do a decent job overall. It looks like saturated amongst these archers hidden are some Eagle Claw bolt throwers as well. We do have one down on this flank, and it looks like perhaps that is just it. So just the one artillery piece here, but protected and backed up by, of course, more and more spearmen. So really solid build all round. It looks like hidden in deep reserve, we do have some silver helms with shields, and over in the trees on the left-hand flank, some more silver helms protected by some more spearmen. Now up in the skies, we do have a wild Great Eagle pick. Now this is actually a really cool unit with some fast mobility, can certainly harass the back line. So I quite like seeing this in this matchup. You don't get to see it too often. And for Lord choice, someone I get to see even less of, unfortunately, and especially on foot, we have Alfarian the Grim raising his sword high in the sky there in an awesome salute. He is going to be bringing simply Fiery Convocation and Apotheosis for that nice healing. It'll be interesting to see how he does on the ground game. Of course, he is a caster swordsman hybrid lord. Overhead in the trees, looks like that is double Liam Reavers as well for some backline harass. Now for the forces of the Skaven here, their leadership is a very powerful core here of Deathmaster Snickage, another lord who is incredibly powerful, who we don't get to see anywhere near enough simply because of how powerful some of the other Skaven lords are. He's going to be simply bringing Deathmaster Sigil so he can pin people in place for a short duration, and he's going to be rolling dirty with his assassin brother here, of course, bringing trophy heads, rival hide? Yeah, rival hide talisman. So a deadly pair here who have some of the coolest animations in the game. Then for his main force, it looks like in the front line, cheap and cheerful Skaven slave spears, just there to soak up damage and arrow fire and the like. Dotted through in the secondary line, we do have clan rats with spears, as well as the council guard, Unbreakable Stormvone, which is really a unsung hero in the Skaven forces. Having an unbreakable troop in such a flimsy army is incredibly goddamn powerful. He does have a couple of rat ogres as well to counter cavalry and the like, more Skaven slaves as well in the forest, and to back up and protect the back line. There is one warp lightning cannon as well, which needs to be careful. These contraptions are pretty wild but also flimsy. They will get pulled apart by Eagle Claw bolt for a fire, and there are some warp grinders as well who come with some really nice map control abilities in Warp Quake and Seismic Snare, pinning the enemy in place. So without further ado, let's hop in here. Looks like there's a Hell Pit Abomination as well, sitting a little bit further back from the rest of the army. Needs to move up and catch up with his bros, but this beast is just so goddamn horrific. Look at it. Oh, the way it like plods forwards is really disgusting. So it looks like the Eagle Claw is in fact going to be tying down the Poisoned Wind Mortars instead of the Warp Lightning Cannon, which isn't the worst idea in the world. Warp Lightning Cannon, of course, better against cav and so forth rather than the infantry. And these Poisoned Wind Mortars can do huge work up against archer lines and the like. So as you can see, they do damage over time as well after those balls of poison do make contact. So these guys continue to lose health even after the initial barrage. Looks like the Warp Lightning Cannon is focusing down the Eagle Claw bolt throwers. They probably want to deal with it back in return. Archers have now moved up into range, but as you can see, those mortars are certainly going to start taking their toll on these poor archers. At the moment, the archers are simply shooting slaves and the like. Looks like there's a Plague Priest as well, if I missed earlier, coming in as well. Certainly going to be coming in with some summons and all that good stuff. Rangers pushing forward, going for a bit of a Leroy Jenkins style charge here into the front line. It's going to be tearing apart these Skaven slaves very quickly, but a lovely counter charge I can spy coming out of my corner of my left eye here, as rat ogres are going to be charging in, and they're the kind of troops who want to get on top of these rangers, beat them down quite effectively. Nice Apotheosis going down in that centre pocket, keeping these rangers nice and healthy. As you can see, the Plague Priest has popped forward, going to be summoning some Plague Monks, no doubt, on top of these archers. They will tear these guys apart in seconds. You can see them drawing their swords, realising, you know what, we don't want to fight that. They're going to put them away and start running for the hills. which is the best thing to do up against these Plague Monks. Pin them in with cheap troops. Sorry, Silver Guard here actually. Pin them in with some cheap troops and don't let them get any value so much. Rangers doing a decent job in the front line. They did get hurt by the Warp, Quake Havoc and Seismic Snares. They couldn't move for a while. They're taking damage, but they have cleaned up the Skaven slaves very effectively, up to 66 kills here. But that very angry Hellpit Abomination is certainly going to be a bit of a problem. Poison Maw has taken a significant amount of damage to Archer Fire as well as the Eelclaw Bolt Thrower doing some decent work. Unfortunately, Rangers are in combat with Rat Ogres, but Spearmen are going to be saturating it on top. And Rat Ogres aren't the toughest of boys themselves, so Spearmen can certainly do some decent work with their anti-large. Elfarin in a dangerous situation, is surrounded by 2 assassins, as well as Rival High Talisman pops from him, as well as Assassin's Trophy, and he is getting absolutely mauled to death here by these 2 rat assassins. Looks like he's going to be falling back as fast as possible now. He is rather speedy, so as he is of course an elf. Apotheosis trying to heal him up, and a lovely charge coming in by the Silver Helm, saving him. He probably would have gone down there, but the Silver Helms using their mass to pin in these assassins and keep Elfarin, their lord, safe, at least for now. Poison Wind Waters up to 20 kills, but doing huge HP damage, helping break troops off. Lovely play. Great Eagle has swooped in on top of these guys. Should be able to tear them apart pretty damn quickly with that piercing beak and claw, ripping these Poison Wind Mortars from their weapon teams. So really nice pick overall. In the back lines, Illyrian Reavers did manage to get on and shut down the Warp Lightning Cannon, but a lovely sandwich here between Council Guard and Skaven Slaves is going to put these Illyrian Reavers in their place, and they're going to fall back at least for now. And this Warp Lightning crew may be able to rally and get back up on top of this last cannon. In the trees, it looks like we do have Clan Rats chasing down Rangers, which is okay, get them off the field, and some rallying Rat Ogres, so some Rats may emerge late game from the trees. Silver Helms and some nice cycle charging as well, running over Skaven Slaves, and not taking too much damage. The Archer Corps is kind of back online here for the force of the High Elves. There is one unit of Spearmen I'd get a little bit closer, and once again Elfarin is on the run here. So let's see, he does come in with a whopping 36 speed, sorry, and the Assassin comes in with 54, so much faster. Did he get poisoned? I think he must have been poisoned or something. No, maybe he's just a lot slower on foot, like Skaven are quite skittery. So Silver Helms though coming in for some nice arc and strike. That assassin goes on all fours, chasing that elf booty here. Should be able to catch up with him and do some decent damage with those weeping blades. And Elfarin has been hit as well by a snare. Going to be popping another Apotheosis once again. He's used the majority of his magic on himself just to keep himself alive. And Silver Helm's going to be flooding in, as well as Silver and Guard. Should eventually be able to pin these guys in. But it looks like Elfarin could go down here. He's running for the hills. He's currently broken. See his awesome animation coming down there as well of the lightning bolts. But he's going to be running for the hills. He should be able to escape at the moment at least. Up in the high ground, Hellpit Abomination has found itself amongst Spearmen, not where it wants to be. It was destroying some Rangers though, but now the Bolt Thrower has switched its target as well as some Overwatch Archer Fire. You can see the High Elves have really solidified this back line position and going to be able to use up all the ammunition. Eagle is hunting down that Plague Priest, needs to simply drop down on him and can do some huge damage. And in the back lines, Illyrian Reavers are reaving through the back line, as their namesake would suggest. They're floating around, hunting down routing units, crushing them, and the Warp Lightning Cannon isn't too much of a threat when it's just this single artillery piece. They could also try and pounce back there as well. Elfarin, rather near his healing cap hit, another Apotheosis has gone down on him to keep him active, and that Wobbling Lightning Cannon is trying to take him down at this point. Archer Fire is slowly trying to aim it for the Council Guard, which isn't a bad shout at all. And once again, Illyrian Reavers come crashing in to the Warp Lightning Cannon, just trying to finish off that crew. It'd be a worthwhile sacrifice if you lose this unit to the Council Guard, as long as you force off the cannon for good. Looks like they're actually struggling to get to the crew because there's so few of them. They're all getting bogged down on the cannon itself here. Looks like they are going to fail in their mission, unfortunately for them. Now, Deathmaster Snickage is having a lot of trouble here with his Assassin Bro as well. Actually, no, Assassin's Bro is managed to escape here. But he's getting pinned in, and Deathmaster Snickage, especially without his Whirling Weeping Blades, he's not tanky at all. He's incredibly squishy. So Rangers, who are anti-infantry, mixed in with Silver and Gold, are certainly going to be able to drag him down. But he does pop Slippery and manages to slime his way out of that. But some Archer Fire is coming in and focusing down those assassins. And Elfarin just runs as fast as he can away from the battlefield. I do not blame him. Hell Pit Abomination, this is good play by the Skaven player as well. Just falling back to the trees for a nice little bit of protection. And he has regeneration, so just heal up, get a nice big fat Hell Pit Abomination back in the game. Assassin has popped Concealment Bomb's going to be escaping here for now. And Deathmaster Snake is trying to hunt down Silver Helms. I mean, you know, he can take them on one-on-one. Looks like Spearmen have broken here, so Warp Grinders, who up to impressive 33 kills, and Clan Rats can flood back into this back line. The archers are very slowly running out of ammunition. Over here we have a bit of a standoff, as it looks like the Great Eagle probably did finish off that Plague Priest. He's just looking down at some Clan Rats, and some Clan Rats are looking back up. And the Great Eagle, you know, trying to wait for a perfect target to swoop upon. Looks like those Rat Eagles did come back from the edge of the battlefield, but they're incredibly beat up at this point. It's not going to have too much impact. Only 4 of those guys left and 600 health. They're quite likely that they're actually going to break any time the enemy does get too close. Elves are deciding to go on the offensive here, which I think is a good idea. Needs to move up these archers as well as these Silver Helms here. And kind of, you know, attack as one, become a big wrecking ball at this point. The Skaven forces are very beat up. Balance power is dead even, however, and the Skaven do still outnumber the High Elves. But you know, if that ever switches around, it's going to be a bad day indeed for the forces of the Skaven. He needs to push this Hell Pit Abomination. No point letting it heal up like this. So it looks like Silver and Guard and Spearmen are going to pushing over to this side. They should, through sheer number, be able to pull down these forces. But it looks like the Rangers, unfortunately, have broken here. More Rangers here, up to 90 kills going through Skaven Slaves, which is a perfect engagement for them. Seismic Snare and Warpquake has been popped down on these Spearmen. It looks like the High Elves going to be advancing this gun line, kind of using it as a mobile firing platform, and then using the Spearmen just to push away their nearby enemies. Archer's doing some great work onto the Warp Landing Cannon here. You can see it's now lost its last piece, so that is basically completely useless. Just want to save the ammunition, start dropping it down on the Council Guard, who are still pretty much full health, and they're going to be, you know, really tough to deal with in this late stage. Illyrian Reavers have been hammering Clan Rats once again over this flank and need to ensure to cycle and do all that good work. Spearmen are going to intercept these Skaven Slaves. Archers may have to fight in combat for a little, you know, couple of seconds, or simply fall back. And the Council Guard are starting to take some casualties now. They see them starting to rack up as their HP does go down. Spearmen desperately trying their best to hold the line. And this is such a close game. After 9 minutes of a Warhammer game, if it's still balance power very even like this, you know it's been a good game. Although, just as I say that, it does dip in favour here of the forces of the Skaven. Great Eagle is incredibly healthy at this point. Spearmen are going to be pushing in and running over these Clan Rats, helping these Illyrian Reavers escape, and they can be used to chase down routing units at this point, but it looks like unfortunately they themselves will rout as well. Great Eagle trying to hunt down Deathmaster Snickage, which is really a good idea actually, but it looks like the pigeon is going to waddle off over this assassin now. The assassins are great, great damage dealers all round, but the Eagle can cycle charge very effectively. It looks like the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower crew have a bone to pick here with the assassins. Been trying to hunt down their lord the entire game, and in fact going to be engaging in combat, considering that ammunition is out. Hell Pit Abomination is forcing its way in here. It did take a ton of shots from the Bolt Thrower early on, and is taking consistent archer fire as well. Fantastic cycle charging coming in from the Great Eagle. Is going to be finishing off the Deathmaster by the looks of it. And is Elfarin still alive? It looks like he is. He is literally running to the corner of the map at this point, looking for safety. And Illyrian Reavers, Silver Helms as well, are being chased by Clan Rats, which is a bit of a misplay from the Skaven there. The High Elf Cavs can simply manoeuvre back around at this point. Great Eagle is now going after the assassin. It looks like he did deal the death blow to Deathmaster Snickage. Oh no, he's still in here, but he's pretty damn beat up at this point. Down to just 483 health, but he's surrounded by a lot of his own troops. He needs to stick in this kind of moving blob of Skaven, use them as a just wrecking ball and slowly try and pick apart the archers, as it looks like the High Elves are running dangerously low on ammunition, and ammunition does count towards the balance of power here. So it looks like the Hell Pit Abomination does go down here to the last volleys of the archers. Now, if this guy had got his regen proc, this probably would have been game over in favour of the Skaven, if, you know, he went back up to pretty much full health. And instead he has body collapses and a form of Skaven Slave Spears do come through the tear and wounds of his corpse. But these guys are simply summoned, so they disappear over time. Down here it looks like the assassin has been pulled apart, unfortunately, from his own troops, surrounded by Illyrian Reavers here. And Rangers should be able to cut him up quite nicely. Eagle, as though, has been warp-quaked here down in the low ground, which is really bad for it overall, as in come the Council Guard, but it looks like he just managed to escape in time before they can get a full surround, and he's simply going to waddle off, which is a really nice play. He needs to just float over here and hunt down at Deathmaster Snickage. Archers can come back to the main fight now. Looks like they still have 2 volleys left, which can still do some decent damage. And unfortunately for the Skaven, their leadership is just getting sniped at this point. Slippery has been popped. The Assassin's fighting hard, up to 60 kills, but being completely surrounded like this is very risky stuff overall. The last few volleys are coming, peppering down the Council Guard once more, but there's still 109 of these rats, which is pretty scary stuff. Looks like the Great Eagle has chevrons up, going to be hunting down the Death Master here, and unfortunately for him, this is going to be the end. Down to 200 health, minus 29 leadership. He should be shattering soon, you'd expect. But balance power has gone back now in the High Elf favour. Warp Lightning Cannon Crew has even been pushed forward into glorious combat. Spearman is holding a full blob here. These Skaven definitely need to spread out and surround this unit, really. There's no kind of range pressure coming in on them, so if you just surround this unit, crump it, move on to this next unit, surround it, crump it, would be a good way to go. But it looks like the High Elves are, being busy securing their back line. There's this full health of unit of clan rats running around in the distance, but rangers and archers are going to go and say hello here. Elfarion has been all around the battlefield running away, up to only 16 kills. To be honest, he's been used as a bit of a punching bag today, but Apotheosis has kept him nice and healthy, or, I mean, very unhealthy, but kept him alive at least. And it has basically distracted the Assassin and Deathmaster Snake H for the majority of the battle as well. So I'm going to fast forward here, as it looks like it is going to be a little bit of a grind towards the late game here. Silverhelm's going to be shattering some clan rats, and High Elves using their extra mobility just to hunt down these last dregs of Skaven units where possible. A lovely Warp, Quake and Seismic Snare does go down once again, pinning these troops and doing some decent damage. And we'll just fast forward here until we do get to the final engagement. Looks like both forces are going to be rallying slightly here. And my one worry for the force of the High Elves, of course, is going to be those Council Guard. Do they have enough to take those guys down? Hopefully with some effective cycle charging. They do have a full health eagle and, of course, the leadership bonus here. So if the rest of the forces do break, and we do have a fiery convocation coming in here by Elfarion. So he's up to 16 kills so far. Looks like the Skaven are trying to move out the way as fast as possible. And unfortunately, it would have been better kind of going down this angle instead. Its arc of fire wasn't too great. But it does look like it did manage to rout those Skaven slaves and the Warp Grinders. He needs to get these Illyrian Reavers and chase these guys off the battlefield as quickly as possible. It did get him up to 69 kills actually, so bow chicka bow wow for one, but also a ton of damage done there in one go. So really nice play. It didn't look like it caught too many, but if we zoom in, there is a lot of dead Skaven on the floor. It looks like the Council Guard do now stand alone. So that last fiery convocation may have won this game for the forces of the High Elves. Because I mean, the Council Guard do kind of counter basically everything they have left here. There's no real hard-hitting damage dealers. All the rangers are gone. There's just a ton of cav and basic spearmen. Great Eagle has chevroned up twice now. Looks like another Seismic Snare is coming in, and Warp Quake, and they have been used relatively effectively. I would have liked to see the Snare held a little bit more for some more key engagements, kind of in usage, but still, it's doing decent work. It looks like the Silver Helms, as well as the Illyrian Reavers, may pay the ultimate price here for daring to go up against those elite Skaven units. Elfarion is going to be charging in here. Got his little spear and sword combination, which is pretty badass. I don't know how useful that'd be in real life. I feel like the spear would kind of, or the sword would get in the way of using the spear, but still, he is an elf, so I'm sure he knows much better than myself. And Council Guard down to 47 troops there. Balance power has gone over to army losses at this point, so it's just going to be surrounding this unbreakable force. Great Eagle going to be doing some nice cycle charging, as well as getting healed up by Apotheosis. There is nothing left for the force of the High Elves. There's some beat up archers, a Great Eagle and Elfarion. Looks like the Stormbowmen trying to chase him where possible, but at this point, there's no way these poor little rat boys can win. But very close game. Literally half a unit of archers and Craig beats up an eagle and a demoralised and PTSD'd probably now Elfarion from the brutal slaughter he did take throughout the battle. But he survived, so a Pyrrhic victory. Well played to both of these guys, Salazar and Consular Rome. Fantastic game, super close, and some really fun lord choices as well. Special shout out to Consul as well for sending this in via my Discord. He's been a long supporting viewer of the channel, so always great to get him on here. Overall, his build's pretty damn fun as well. Single E-Claw bolt throw can be slightly risky if your opponent's bought, Warplock Giselles, Natty Bobus, that type of stuff. But he had the mobility as well to push forward and get into that back line. But the real kind of MVP here, honestly, I loved that Eagle play. The Eagle did really good work, managed to hunt down and assassinate both the assassins, which is pretty funny. and did good damage into the late game. And Elfarion, pretty funny as well, that he basically was a punching bag the entire game. Got his last, Pharaoh Convocation off at the end, but spent the majority of the time running away from these assassins. As for the Skaven build, pretty damn fun as well. I really like the Poison Wind Mortar pick. I probably would have had multiple of them myself instead of the Hellpit Abomination, but really good play overall, and the double assassin combination can be very deadly. You stack those debuffs on top of each other, and they can hunt characters down incredibly quickly. They just couldn't quite finish off Elfarion. He kept sneaking away, and good use of Cav in the back line to protect their lord. And guys, hope you did enjoy. If you did, please feel free to subscribe and give the video a big old thumbs up, comment and all that good stuff. And if you want to ask me any questions, get involved in the tournament scene, or any tournaments, King of the Hills and stuff I host, get your replays up on the channel, feel free to join the Discord. There's a link just down below. It will be a bit slow this week replying as I am home visiting family, but I will try my best. Anyway guys, until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.